Have you ever wondered how a small, struggling wrestling company transformed into one of the biggest entertainment empires on the planet? How a simple ring, some bright lights, and a group of fearless performers evolved into a billion-dollar global spectacle watched by millions? Today, we're diving into the untold, dramatic, and unbelievable history of WWE, a story filled with ambition, conflict, legendary characters, shocking twists, and the rise of a company that rewrote the meaning of sports entertainment. Stay tuned, because this story is wilder than anything that ever happened inside the ring.
Before the bright lights, before WrestleMania, before global superstars like The Rock, John Cena, or The Undertaker, there was only a small, territory-based wrestling world scattered across the United States. In the early 20th century, professional wrestling was very different from today. It was local, disconnected, and controlled by small promoters. Each region had its own stars, its own champions, and its own shows. Wrestlers traveled city to city, working for whichever promoter they hired them. And in the middle of this world stood Jess McMahon, a boxing promoter from New York. He wasn't planning to build a global empire. He simply ran shows at local venues and brought people together for entertainment. But his son, Vince McMahon Sr., had bigger dreams. By the 1950s, Vince Sr. formed the Capitol Wrestling Corporation, which would eventually evolve into the company we know as WWE. At this time, wrestling was simple. It was presented as a sport. Broadcasters announced it like a boxing match. There were no fireworks, no theme songs, no weekly storylines. But even then, the foundation of WWE was being built. Spectacle, characters, and emotional storytelling. Vince Sr. understood one thing clearly. People don't just want to watch wrestling, they want to feel something. And this idea would change everything.
In 1963, everything shifted. After a disagreement with the National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA, Vince McMahon Sr. broke away and formed the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, the WWF. He crowned Buddy Rogers as the first WWF champion, marking the beginning of a new era. But it wasn't until the rise of one young superstar that the company started gaining real momentum. His name was Bruno Sammartino. Sammartino was strong, humble, and connected with audiences in a way few wrestlers ever had. He wasn't flashy, he was relatable. He represented hard work, courage, and loyalty. And under Vince Sr.'s leadership, he became one of the longest-reigning champions in wrestling history, holding the title for more than 11 years combined. The WWF was slowly transforming into something bigger, but nobody knew how big it would truly become until the next generation stepped in.
In the early 1980s, Vince McMahon Jr. purchased the company from his father. And unlike his father, Vince Jr. didn't want a regional promotion. He wanted a global entertainment empire. This was not only ambitious, it was risky. The entire wrestling industry was built on regional territories. If Vince Jr. tried to expand nationwide, he would face angry promoters, financial disaster, and possibly the fall of his company. But Vince had two secret weapons: his revolutionary idea, turn wrestling into entertainment, and a superstar who would capture the world, Hulk Hogan. And so, Vince began buying TV time across the country. He recruited top talent from the territories. He created storylines, characters, theme music, interviews, and larger-than-life personalities. This wasn't just wrestling. It was sports entertainment, a term Vince would later use to describe his vision. But he needed one massive event, one unforgettable moment, to officially launch WWE into the mainstream.
In 1985, Vince McMahon created something the wrestling world had never seen before. A blockbuster event mixing celebrities, wrestlers, music, and Hollywood-style production. He called it WrestleMania. But here's something many people don't know. If WrestleMania failed, WWE would have gone bankrupt. Vince put everything on the line. His money, his company, his future. The main event featured Hulk Hogan teaming with Mr. T, creating a crossover between wrestling and mainstream entertainment. And then, the impossible happened. WrestleMania became a massive success. Crowds exploded, celebrities joined in, media attention skyrocketed. WWE was no longer just a wrestling company. It was now a phenomenon. With WrestleMania's success, WWE entered a golden age. Superstars were everywhere. Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Andre the Giant. Characters were colorful, loud, and unforgettable. Children loved them. Adults admired them. Merchandise sales skyrocketed. TV ratings grew, and WWE became a cultural force. Wrestling toys, magazines, cartoons, cereal boxes, WWE was everywhere. But success brings challenges. And soon, WWE would face its toughest competitor yet. In the mid-1990s, billionaire Ted Turner launched WCW, a rival wrestling company with big money and a big plan: take down WWE. WCW introduced Monday Nitro, airing at the same time as WWE's Monday Night Raw. The war was intense, personal, and brutal. WCW stole top WWE stars like Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and Kevin Nash. They offered huge salaries. They presented wrestling as more realistic and unpredictable. And for 83 weeks, WCW dominated WWE in TV ratings. It looked like Vince McMahon's empire was finally falling. But then, everything changed. WWE reinvented itself. To survive the Monday Night War, WWE shifted to a new, edgy, bold direction. The Attitude Era was born. The stories were more dramatic. The characters were more rebellious. And the entire company embraced chaos. This era gave birth to legends. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the anti-hero who fought his boss. The Rock, charismatic, funny, electrifying. The Undertaker, dark, mysterious, iconic. Triple H, Mankind, Kane, Kurt Angle, and more. Crowds went wild. Merchandise exploded. WWE took risks no one expected. And slowly, WWE began winning the war. By 2001, WCW collapsed. And in a shocking moment that changed wrestling forever, WWE bought WCW. Vince McMahon had won. After the Attitude Era ended, WWE faced a huge challenge. How do you follow up the most successful era in wrestling history? The answer was the Ruthless Aggression Era. This era introduced new stars who would shape the future. John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Batista, Edge, Rey Mysterio. The matches were more athletic, emotional, and intense. WrestleMania grew into a global festival. The brand split created Raw and SmackDown as two separate worlds. WWE was now a global powerhouse. By the late 2000s, WWE shifted to a more family-friendly style. Some fans missed the old edgy tone, but this change helped WWE expand worldwide. The company became safer. New stars rose to the top. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan, The Shield, CM Punk, The New Day. WWE launched the WWE Network, streaming thousands of hours of content. They expanded into India, the Middle East, the UK, Australia, and many more regions. WWE wasn't just popular, it was global.
Today, WWE is more than wrestling. It is a media company, a global brand, a live entertainment machine, a storytelling powerhouse. SmackDown is on major networks. Raw continues as one of the longest weekly TV shows in history. WrestleMania fills huge stadiums every year. And the company has now merged with UFC under TKO Holdings, becoming part of a sports entertainment giant worth billions. WWE's journey from a small regional promotion to a worldwide empire is unmatched. And yet, the heart of WWE remains the same. A ring, a story, and performers who give everything to entertain the world.
And that is the incredible story of WWE. A story of ambition, innovation, rivalry, reinvention, and global success. From small local shows to the bright lights of WrestleMania. From Bruno Sammartino to John Cena. From Hulk Hogan to Roman Reigns. WWE has shaped generations of fans and created some of the most iconic characters in modern history. If you enjoyed this documentary and want more historical stories for English listening practice, make sure to like, subscribe, and tell me which history you want next.